Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to create a custom weapon using Toly's combat system with a custom model and firing sound effects. This will be building off the base knowledge in the first video regarding how to make the world and how to import the combat system. So make sure you watch that before this one so you know how I got all of this into Unity. Without further ado, let's get into it. So to get started, then we're going to need a model for our gun. So I'm just going to go find the one that I found that I think looks good. So this is a Glock that I found on Sketchfab, and I'll have a link to the website linked down in the description below. All you have to do is just look up whatever model you want to find. And then just scroll until you find one that looks good for you. This is the one that I'm using, the 9mm pistol. So I'm just going to go ahead and download it. So for some models, then you have to unzip them. So go ahead and extract it. And so you should be able to just drag this into your Unity project. So we're going to go over to the model, and we can see that we have all the textures and the model itself. I'm not going to show you how to do this in this tutorial, but I'm going to go ahead and make the materials required for the pistol. Now that I have my material, then I can go ahead and set up the model on our pistol. So for this, then we're going to go ahead and drag in a pistol prefab from the Toly scripts Udon combat system prefab section. Go ahead and just take it from here. Either drag it directly into your scene viewer or into your hierarchy. I'm just going to drag it directly into my scene, that way I can see where it is. So I'm just going to put it right here and then raise it up so it's a little bit easier to go through. And I shouldn't be needing this original one. So once we have the pistol in here, then you're going to go ahead and click up here, just right click, and unpack prefab completely. That way you don't accidentally edit the original pistol so that you'll have the space for later. Rename it to whatever you like, and we can get started swapping the model. So, first of all, you're going to press this little arrow icon to drop this down. Now go down to Visuals, drop it down, Rotation Point, and Handgun to Slider Update, and then Templar Product. Drop this down, and here is where we're going to put the model. So, if we go back in our assets to the pistol model, then we're just going to drag this right into here. And as you can see, it's way too big, so we're just going to scale that down a little bit, along with rotating it. And so we're going to try our best to align it with the original model, that way it looks better. And then scale it up to the same size, just about. I'd recommend, for lining it up, to align the handles instead of the tip of the gun, because that way you don't have to edit the point where you're holding the gun. So place it about where you want it, and go ahead and double check. Make sure the back is lined up so it's nice and straight. And there we go. You're done placing your model, so you can go ahead and go down here, delete clip, handgun, and slider. And there we go. You've replaced the model for the original gun. At this point, you can go ahead and apply your materials so that it looks a lot nicer. And theoretically, this should work perfectly, but so that it works a lot better, then we're going to go up here in the rotation point to fire pose, and we're just going to drag this directly in front of the barrel of the gun. So right about here. This will make it so this is the exact point where it's firing out of the gun, and it'll be 100% accurate. The blue arrow is the direction that it's firing. And so there we go. The model is fully replaced, and you can go ahead and test this by opening up the emulator by pressing play. Sorry if it's freezing at all, but now that we're in our emulator, then if we go ahead and pick up the gun, then it looks like we're holding a Glock. If we shoot it, then you can see the particle effect. And my headset turned off, so I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there should also be a sound effect. It should reload, and so yeah, you now have your own custom gun. Now, this is the bare minimum, but if you want to, you can add custom sound effects as well. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So I've imported a custom Glock firing sound effect. I'm not going to show you where or how to get the firing sound effects, but the basic premise is you want something high quality and also has very minimal time before the effect starts. That way there's not a delay between shooting. If you find a sound effect that you really like, but there is a delay, then I'd recommend getting Audacity and learning how to cut that yourself. It's extremely simple and easy to use. But to apply our sound effect, then go ahead and go into your pistol, go down to Scripts, and you should see this script right here. Should look something like this. Right down here, then there's the Clips section that's minimized right now. Just click on this to open it up, and you should see that there's 3 sound effects here if it's unedited: pistol fire, pistol insert mag, and pistol cock. So to make the sound effect of the pistol change, then we're just going to drag in this sound effect into element 0. This will change the fire sound effect to whatever you add in. So if we go ahead and open up the emulator to test it, then we can see if we go ahead and pick up the pistol, that it makes a Glock firing sound effect when we shoot. And so this sound effect will be whatever you applied, so you can get as creative as you want. You can go from a pistol sound effect to a rifle sound effect. You can even make it a lightsaber ignition if you want to. I don't know, go crazy. Okay, so Editor Sparky here. I was gonna make a little wrap-up section to that pistol tutorial section, but it decided to delete itself. I don't know why. So yeah, this is the end of the pistol section. That was just a basic how-to on how to make a very simple weapon using Toly's combat system. So let's get on to making a rifle. Okay, so I've gone ahead and imported a rifle model and sound effect. So let's get started making this rifle. First, we're going to need the rifle prefab. So go into the Toly scripts, put on combat system prefabs folder, get the police SMG, and go ahead and drag this into your scene. Make sure to unpack prefab completely. And to replace the model, then it's pretty much exactly like before. The only difference is that instead of going into the pistol section of this, then underneath rotation point, then it's going to be called Police Standard Rifle. So go ahead and place your model underneath there. Scale it and rotate it to whatever you need. And line it up to the model, making sure that it's lined up to the handle instead of the barrel. Apply your textures, and delete the original model. For this, then we're going to delete charging handle through trigger. Just hold down Shift and select everything, and delete. So for the rifle, then as you'll see, the ammo counter is on the stock, which is kind of a strange location. Not sure why you put it there, Toly, but we're going to go ahead and move this. So over here, underneath rotation point, and right below fire position, then you'll see the ammo counter component. We're going to go ahead and select this, and you can place it wherever you want, but I'm just going to move it over to the front of the rifle and tilt it around 45 degrees or so. That way it's facing the player and they can easily see it. It should function exactly the same. All you're doing is just changing where it is on the gun. And of course, you can always delete this component if you don't want to have an ammo counter. Just right-click and delete. Nothing about it will change, it just won't show your ammo. But because we want the ammo counter for this specific tutorial, then I'm going to keep it. Now we just move the fire position to the front of the gun, like before, right in front of the barrel. And here's where the interesting part comes in. If you'll notice this component right here, that's underneath the rotation point, this is called exact grip. This is the point at which you're going to be gripping the gun in your hand. And this sphere section is where your second hand will go while gripping. So you can place this wherever you want, but because this is a rifle, I'm going to place it right here on the bottom of the barrel. Right about there should be fine. Also, if you don't like where you're holding on to the rifle or pistol, then you can go ahead and go to the exact grip and move it around to wherever you want, just to adjust for any changes that might have happened. So if it's slightly too far forward right here, then I can just move it backwards a little bit and it should be fine. And the last thing we're going to do for this rifle in the simple section of this tutorial is insert this sound effect. Okay, so quick note, I've noticed that there's a bug in the Police SMG where it doesn't play the sound effects at all. So to fix this bug, then you're going to want to go to the scripts and scroll down, and right here in the add-on section, then you have the audio, and it says non-audio source. You're going to go ahead and drag the scripts section in the hierarchy into that right here, and that'll play these audio clips through the audio source that's already included in the scripts section. It's the exact same process as the pistol. The only difference is changing this sphere section to match with the barrel of your gun. And if you want to change this into what you'd think would work for your gun, and it didn't need a second grip, then you could just straight up go ahead and right click and delete it. Now, slightly more advanced, if you would like to make the gun automatic or semi-automatic, then you can go ahead and look at this checkbox here in the automatic part of the gun script. Checked on, then it will fire automatically in well, you hold down the trigger and it starts firing. If it's clicked off, then you click once, it fires once, just like that. You can also change the damage, distance, and the cycle time to change these values, but I'll get into that in the advanced section. But let's go ahead and test it. Now that we're in the emulator, if we go ahead and pick up the rifle, then if we shoot, it makes a sound effect that I inserted, as well as it changed the model to the M4 that I added. And if we were in VR, then I could show you holding with both hands. But you can see that this point right here is where you can grab it, and you can sort of maneuver it around. So that is proof that that is working. So now that you've made your very own pistol and rifle, we're going to go on to some slightly more advanced tips for making your weapons work even better in game. So if you want to change the damage that a gun deals, then you go up here to raycast damage amount. And this can be anywhere from 0 or 1 to really whatever number you want. And you can change the exact health by going to the combat system in player health and changing the respawn health. I would not recommend it though, because it's a little bit unreliable when it comes to what damage equates to what health. The next has to do with reloading, and this can be achieved by, if you want no reloading and you want to just have infinite ammo, then you can either change the ammo count to an ungodly high number, or you can just click this box right here that says infinite ammo. This will make it so that you do not have to reload, and on the ammo count indicator that's right up here, then it'll just show infinity out of infinity ammo. Also, you can turn on automatic reload, which will reload as soon as your magazine is empty. Or if you turn that off, then I'm assuming that you have to press the trigger one more time to reload, although I have not tested this. If you want to change the time of the reload and how long it takes, then in the gun script, go ahead and scroll down underneath animation settings, and you'll see the reload time section. This is how many seconds it takes to reload. The base default is 3 seconds, but you can make this as short or long as you want to. So the fire velocity currently doesn't do anything, as we do not have projectile systems. Right now it's only hit scan, which means once you pull that trigger, then it instantly fires and hits whatever target is in front of it. There's no travel time in between. But you can change the max distance, which is how long it can fire, and if it's out of range, then it just won't do any damage or make any effects. If you want to change how fast the gun fires, then go down, and next to reload time, there's cycle time. Now, this may seem a little bit confusing, but this is the amount of time in between bullets fired. So 0.2 would fire 5 rounds a second, and 1 would fire 1 per second. It's basically how long in between shots you can take. So if you want a sniper rifle, for example, that takes 5 seconds in between shots, then you just put this to a 5. Or if you want an extremely fast weapon, like an SMG, then you can put this to 0.1 or 0.2. You can also add animations for firing, so you can add a recoil animation, or a bolt racking, or anything you really want, and also an animation for reloading. I won't go into that in this tutorial, as it's a lot more complicated. I'll have a dedicated tutorial for particle effects and animations. So that's pretty much it with the guns, and using these you can pretty much create any gun you want with your own sound effects and model. If you want to learn how to add custom animations or particle effects, that'll be in my next video, which will be episode 3 of this series, so stay tuned for that. So, thanks for watching the second episode of this series on Toly's combat system. I'll be sure to make more in the future and get more and more advanced as we go along, and I will be dedicated to using this specific Unity project specifically for tutorials, and you will be seeing every change that I make, apart from simple things like importing some assets. But basically, I'll be creating some really cool worlds, and you'll be following along with me. So, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.